Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Max here with Guns, Gear, and Coffee. Today we're going to be doing a review of the Centurion holster by Tier 1 Concealed for the F&H 509 Tactical.
135, 133, 122, 126, 155, 248,
Before we move any further, all the weapons that are going to be demonstrated in this video have been previously safety checked. Not really going to focus on the weapon system so much today as much as the holster system. So, as much as I don't want to review Tier 1 Concealed as a company to all the other industry giants out there, gonna have to. Safariland has been my holster of choice for a long time. That being said, I have purchased and used other holster systems. I find myself typically going back to Safariland, but this is the first holster system that actually delivered what I've been looking for out of a holster. So I wanted a level 2 retention holster. I wanted something that had 2 different forms of retention, and I don't so much care about protecting the RMR. I don't so much care about an internal locking mechanism. I wanted something that had a level 1 retention, something to hold the gun into the holster when there's no actuation of any kind of levers. I wanted that level 1, and then I wanted a secondary securement, whether it was an internal, whether it was an external, or a hood, and I wanted it to be quick deploy. I did not want a hood that I had to manually move forward with my thumb to be able to draw the gun. I wanted it to have some sort of quick activation lever that allows me to push, grip, strip. So that's what this holster finally offers, and I'm really excited about it. I've only had this out to the range one time, and it only took one time for me to actually be impressed by the gun. Sorry, not the gun, the holster. I've been impressed by the gun already. There's things that I would change on the gun, but I'm not going to focus on that in this video. I'm just strictly going to focus on the holster. Now, where this holster was made for a 509 Tactical, I was curious if it was going to fit a multitude of handgun platforms. I strictly run the Surefire X300U. I have iron sight handguns. This is the only gun that I have a red dot mounted on currently. I did have one mounted on my Glock. That being my everyday carry, until I'm more proficient with a red dot on my handgun, I chose to move back to iron sights. I just find myself being quicker with iron sights still. That's a training issue. I'm not saying that iron sights are faster than red dots, because on my rifles, I am definitely faster with a red dot than iron sights. So it makes sense to me that I could be faster with a handgun with a red dot, but until I'm to that point where I'm actually faster with a red dot on my handgun, I'm just going to stay with the iron sights and what I'm comfortable with and what I'm quickest with. So that being said, I wanted to see if by removing the flashlight and putting it on a similar weapon platform, another 9mm, this is a Glock 1926, because I cut the frame down to fit a 26 magazine. It started off life as a Glock 19. I don't know if that's going to focus. Get my face out of the way. Well, whatever. It's a 19 Gen 4. So, anyways, take the flashlight, and this gun has previously been safety checked. Don't believe me? Then keep watching for some fun shit to happen. I don't care. But yeah, fits into the holster like it was made for it. No back and forth play, no in and out, side to side. It fits. The hood covers and engages, and still allows for a very quick draw, and it retains the weapon as well. So I was impressed to find that out, because this is my everyday carry gun, and I carry it in an armadillo concealment Lux holster. I bought this holster because I was running a multitude of handguns, and I always run a Surefire on it. This holster is built to index around the Surefire, and typically any gun will fit in here as long as it's in the same footprint as a Glock 19. So that being said, there's not really any retention holding this gun in because it's an open top design holster. So it requires your belt to be going through the belt loop and apply that extra additional tension to hold the gun where you want it to. So where I ran into a problem with that holster is when I got the 509, where I don't really see this as a concealed carry handgun. I did find myself just wanting to carry it around just because. And where it fits into the holster and the trigger guard is completely covered up on both sides, at the open top, it bulges that open top substantially more than a Glock 19. So, and I'll just show a direct comparison of the Glock 19 being in this holster. So there you can see how thin that window is. So I was curious to see if my Glock would run in the 509 holster, and happy to report not only does it run, it fits in here like it was made for it. So super pleased to find that out. To me, this holster is the Safariland killer. I'm a big Safariland fan. I've been exclusively running the 6354DO for my Glock ever since I got my Surefire X300. And couldn't be more happy with the holster, except I wish that it added a second layer of retention. And I didn't find myself wanting that until I started doing one-hand manipulation drills and storing the firearm in slide lock back condition. So with the slide lock back, well, we'll just do it forward first. The Safariland has what's called the ALS system in it. So it locks and retains the gun in, and this was made for a comped Glock 19 or a Glock 17 without a comp. So you're going to have a little, without a comp on your 19, you're going to have a little bit of inward and outward play, but it still actuates on the ejection port the way that it's supposed to. You have your little, I don't even know what they call it. I think Grand Thumb calls it a dingus. I call it a dongle. I've been calling it a dongle since before I saw his video. But you have this little dongle or dingus, whatever you guys prefer, that your thumb actuates, pushes slightly down, and that was exaggerated. It's just literally come down and touch it, and it allows the gun to come out. Very quick, very intuitive, very small training curve to get used to this holster, especially running it outside the waistband. Very simple to get to, very simple to actuate, and intuitive to use. So I don't have a bad thing to say in regards to the holster working in this condition. However, when running one-hand manipulation drills and storing your firearm with slide lock to rear, there is no secondary retention holding that gun into the holster whatsoever. That's where I can appreciate the Centurion holster, is because with slide lock to rear, it still retains the gun. If I tightened it up a little bit, it would fit better for the Glock platform. However, if you do that with the 509 slide lock to rear, which the holster was actually made for, it will not slowly work itself out of the holster, because I have this holster actually tuned up to this firearm, not the Glock. So, other than that, what I wanted out of a holster system is I wanted it to utilize the Safariland hole pattern for the QLS fork. I exclusively run this on my outside the waistband setups. I used to run belt mounted, and I just found myself always canning my body and chicken winging to get that holster, and moving it to the location that I have it now. It's a more intuitive draw stroke. It's more comfortable for me to have. I don't have those belt loops sticking into my hips all day now. Not that I wear my holster all day, every day, but when I go out to the range, I'll be out there for a pretty extended period of time, and I enjoy being comfortable if I can help it. So, in the configuration that I bought this holster from Tier 1 Concealed, I wanted to have it cut for a threaded barrel, because the 509 Tactical comes standard with a threaded barrel, suppressor height sights, and I wanted to have it optics cut, and I wanted to have a flashlight mounted on it. So they had all those options. They had it specifically for the Surefire X300, and they do have other options on their website as well. They have an optic cut that will clear like the Delta Point Pro, the Shield RMS, Trijicon RMR, Aimpoint Acro, you name it. If it's a slide mounted optic, that window gives you ample clearance for no matter what optic you're going to be running, as long as it's not something too ridiculous, and was designed to go on a handgun. It's gonna give you ample clearance to be able to draw your gun and your optic not hang up on that cover. So to highlight on their actuation of the hood, instead of the ALS where you apply pressure rearwards with your thumb, this one, as your thumb comes down and hits that pad, which is a rather large surface area for your thumb to actually get on and purchase and deactivate the retention. It's just slight inward pressure towards your body, because the holster would be here and your body would be here. Slight inward pressure towards your body, and it comes forward with spring force. It's very simple. I wouldn't call it robust because this is just another piece of plastic, but it's going to hold up for anything that I'm going to do. Somebody with a lot cooler job than me may have different opinions on something like that, but for what I'm going to do with this holster, it's going to do everything that I need as far as I can tell. Time will tell, and I can just tell by the quality and the build of the holster. And not only this being my third holster that I purchased from Tier 1 Concealed, this is going to hold up and perform as advertised. And that's all I could really ask for out of a holster company is, don't BS, don't make the platform sound better than what it actually is. And actually they don't really touch on how good this holster is. I think this should probably be the biggest selling point of their website. They make a ton of concealed carry holsters, and they're very popular for their concealed carry holsters. However, just with this introduction to the market for a 509 tactical that isn't strictly belt mounted and offers a secondary retention that is not just a manual hood that you push forward, it's outstanding. It's what I've been waiting for specifically for this handgun, and I'm just happy to find out that it will work with my Glock. I can't actually think of a situation where I would be replacing this on my belt with this now that I have this. The fact that this is slave to one handgun and only works with one handgun, and this works with my two primary handguns that I enjoy shooting, that tells me that it's going to work for something like a CZ-P10C or Smith & Wesson M&P9, the Canic TP9SF, or just any other TP9s that you want to talk about. I know that's not a gun people are running on their belts, but it has the same profile as a Glock 17, Glock 19, depending on what model you get. The external dimensions between the CZ-P10C, the Canic TP9, the Smith & Wesson, they're all relatively similar. And just by adjusting these three retention screws, even if it doesn't fit perfectly, you'll be able to dial it in with those. So I wasn't looking for a multi-holster or multi-gun holster. I didn't want a holster that was going to fit everything. I was just happy to find out that this was one of those holsters. It's a very smart, simple, very small training curve to get used to this holster, but it's just well executed, well put together. I like the color tones that I ordered. I got OD green on the inside and tan on the outside. It is a full tan wraparound on the inside, so it's one continuous piece of Kydex just folded over on itself, and then this OD green piece is affixed to the outside via, I believe, 5 screws. 3, 5, 6 screws. Yeah, I got 6 screws in there, affixing that back piece of Kydex that is also supporting your QLS fork or whatever hardware you get, along with your retention engagement. So, smart, simple design. It does seem that it will stand out a little bit farther than the Safariland from your body, which if you're wearing any kind of kit, if you're wearing a plate carrier, this is going to get it farther out from your body for that draw stroke. That's specifically why I don't run anything on the right side of my cummerbund. I do run 2 magazines, but I don't run an IFAK or anything, so it doesn't impede my draw stroke. Same thing with my left side. I tend to keep that clear except the very back. I'm running an IFAK, not very back, but the back of my cummerbund. I'm running an IFAK, and that's directly above my dump pouch, so I don't need ample clearance to get in and out of my dump pouch. That's just kind of really a general purpose area anyways. But otherwise, I don't really have anything bad to say about this holster or any of the holsters I purchased from them. 2 years ago, I had the Tier 1 Concealed Aegis combo package. I bought one for a it was light bearing, non-light bearing, and then it came with a magazine caddy, and it was set up for the Glock 19. But that was also when I had a Enforce APLC mounted to my gun. And when I moved to the Surefire X300, that's exclusively all I use now. And I decided to give those holsters away. I gave one to my brother, one to my best friend. So I've always been impressed with their quality. I've always been impressed with their turnaround times. They advertised for it was 4 to 6 weeks, and the holster was on my door in 16 days. So 2 weeks and 2 days. They were very prompt about the shipping notifications and stuff like that. You know, I like to track my stuff. I like to see if customer service stays in contact with me. They didn't really reach out to me. I didn't reach out to them. I'm pretty patient when it comes to ordering that stuff, especially in this time where in a pandemic, I was expecting a slower turnaround time. And happy to report that things don't seem like they slowed down with them at all. If anything, business might have picked up for them. I'm seeing how many people are buying guns, buying gear, buying ammo. Crazy shit right now. But I plan on doing an in-depth review on the 509 Tactical in the future. I don't like doing reviews on guns until I have a pretty substantial round count on them, and that way I can actually report any issues or malfunctions or concerns that I might have on the handgun. I don't like getting something brand new and just trying to get content out there and be like, this is the first. If I'm going to put something out there review-wise, it's either going to be because, one, I really like it, and I think people need to spend their money on it if they're in the market for what I was in the market for, or two, it was a terrible piece of gear, and I don't want people to waste their money the way that I did. So this is the first. This is a good piece of kit. It's a good piece of gear, and until it fails, I'm going to probably hold it at that same regard. Tier 1 Concealed's been very innovative in how they're doing things, and I love seeing that, especially in a Second Amendment community company. And they've earned my business. I'm probably not going to be buying much other outside the waistband holsters unless it's coming from them, and if I find a handgun platform that this holster system does not fit. This is the holster for me. It's replaced all my other holsters that I currently have. Anybody looking for a Safariland 6354, get a hold of me in my email and I'll hook you up with a deal. Other than that, I got nothing else for you guys. Future video, other than the 509 Tactical review, what I'm going to be doing next is directly comparing weapon platforms. A lot of people are asking me, what kind of AR should I buy? What kind of, so I want to buy an assault rifle. What kind of rifle should I buy? I'm going to do a direct comparison between the 3 most common weapon platforms here in the United States, being a bullpup, a AK, and an AR. Brand, quality, caliber, that doesn't matter. I'm going to focus more on the manual of arms, ammo availability, stuff like that. If you have any questions or concerns regarding the holster or the gun, I'm happy to answer those questions. If you got any input on what kind of video I should do, I'm all ears. I got tons of stuff I can do reviews on, but I don't have tons of time. This is just one of those things that there was not a video highlighting this holster on YouTube, and I wanted to get it out there for people like me that were curious about what kind of system it was, what kind of retention it had, what kind of multitude of platforms it can fit, and any concerns that I had with the holster before I even had it in my hands. I just wish there was content out there. I think that as Tier 1 Concealed, as big of a company as they are, they need to designate somebody to their social media a little bit more permanently to focus on things like that, focus on answering questions that customers may have. Now, I did not reach out to Tier 1 Concealed, so I'm not speaking poorly on behalf of them and their customer service or their communication with their customers. I just figured I'd spend my money on it because I spent my money on them before and they didn't disappoint me, so I kind of had an intuition that they were not going to disappoint, and they didn't, not even close. But yeah, that's all I got for you guys. Any questions? Drop them down in the comments, and until next time, guys, take it easy, be safe.